What is up, everybody? We are live here in Bellingham, Washington. Actually, technically, I'm in Ferndale, Washington, but this is for people in Bellingham. Real quick, I'm going to take just 1 second to make sure we are live everywhere. I know I was having some issues on Facebook, so I'm just going to check that right now and just to make sure we are good. In the meantime, as I'm checking this and making sure we are live everywhere, tell me real quick. I want to know everything about the home you're looking for. Tell it all. Like, I want you to dream big. Tell me what it is you're looking for. Are you looking for a big yard? Are you looking for something in the city? Maybe a condo in Fairhaven. That'd be pretty cool. Or maybe you're looking for 10 acres out in the county, like I am. Well, I'm not looking right now, but that's the dream. Eventually, I want some property out in the county, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. But real quick, let me just check some things out here. So go ahead and share that in the comments section. And let me know where you're from. Are you from Bellingham? Are you from out of state? Please do share. Let me just quickly click edit this, see where we're at. And how do I change this to anyone? Gosh, Facebook is weird. It makes all my live streams private by default. And it might just be private by default. So we'll give this one more second, and then we'll dive in here. So yeah, let me know what it is you are thinking about and finding in a home. That would be really, really cool. Because I might just have to ditch the whole Facebook thing, and that's okay. Because we're streaming to a couple of places right now, so we'll just have to deal with it if we need to. We'll just deal with it. I'll deal with Facebook later. I don't know why I can never seem to get it rock and rolling. But with that said, we'll go ahead and jump in. Again, welcome to our Bellingham First Time Home Buyer Program. Very excited to have you here today. Again, this whole workshop is not just for first-time home buyers. It's for all types of buyers, whether this is your second time buying, your first time buying. Maybe you've owned a home before, but you didn't buy it because maybe you built it or inherited it. This class is going to be for you. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Obviously, the biggest mistakes every home buyer makes, and these are huge. Most of them will cost you tens of thousands, if not a lot more. I guess tens of thousands is a lot, right? Maybe, probably not hundreds of thousands, but I've seen some of these cost, 50,000 plus, right? And these are mistakes I don't want you to make. So again, we're going to be talking about the best home buyer programs to take advantage of. We're going to be talking about in the state of Washington. We're going to be talking about all the steps when it comes to buying a home, and again, those biggest mistakes people are making. But really, 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 what this class is, and I could have called this anything. It's really, how do I screw this? How do I not screw this up, right? That's what it's all about. Like, you're buying a home. This is one of the biggest investments of your life, and you don't want to screw it up, right? Like, this is a big deal, right? If you're dropping 300 grand, 400 grand, 500 grand, 700, $1 million, like, this is a huge investment, right? And you don't want to screw this up because you can lose a lot of money, and you don't want to be losing your butt, right? So, real quick, as a first-time home buyer, I got a question for everyone. Again, tell me what it is you're looking for in a dream home. I want to know what it is. But in the meantime, also tell me, type yes if this is you. Do you ever feel like you're like really stressed out buying your first home? Like, just the thought of buying your first home like stresses you out. Do you feel concerned? Maybe you feel intimidated or anxious or uncertain. I know I did. Like, when I first bought, when I was trying to buy my first home before I was a realtor, like, I felt all of these things. Like, I had no idea what to do. I didn't know like what home buyer programs are out there. Like, I don't know what earnest money is or escrow or any of these things. Like, I had no idea what was going on, and I felt really intimidated and unsure. And I want you to not feel the same way, because the goal of this homebuyer class is to make you feel that this is easy. Okay, like, this is easy. I want you to know that you are in control, that you are in charge, and you don't just have to go trust some realtor blindly at an open house and just buy whatever it is they tell you to buy. My apologies. Excuse me, guys. I want you to come out on the other side of this going like, okay, we got this. I understand what I need to do when it comes to buying my dream home. I'm not going to get taken advantage of, and I'm going to know all the steps available, as well as all the amazing first-time home buyer programs that Washington State has available to you. All right, so who am I? Real quick, this is obviously not about me, but I'm obviously the one teaching this class, right? My name is Tommy Muchler. I've been born and raised here in Bellingham, Washington, Whatcom County, Ferndale, this whole area. This is my beautiful wife, Amanda, and our beautiful little girl, Ellie Joe. I've been selling real estate for over 10 years now. I'm a managing broker at Real Broker, and I've helped more people than I could even remember at this point. I've been so blessed to be able to help so many people out. And as someone who's been doing this for 10 years, uh, some of the biggest mistakes I see first time home buyers end up making is they end up getting in the wrong house or in the wrong deal, or they end up losing a ton of money. And it is my job to help you see around the corner so you don't end up making the same mistake that a lot of home buyers make. Now, my home buyers don't make these mistakes, right? I help people avoid these mistakes, but I do see, again, the vast majority of home buyers make these mistakes, and you're not going to make them because you are here today. So, with that said, who's ready to jump into mistake number one? Type yes in the chat. First mistake home buyers make is they don't take advantage of first-time home buyer programs. Like, this blows my mind. It shouldn't blow my mind, but like, there are first-time home buyer programs where people will literally give you money, or the government will give you money to buy a home, and first-time home buyers don't take advantage of them. Like, this is insane. Like, it blows my mind. I don't know why this is a thing, but it happens all the time. Okay, and we don't want to do that. In fact, it's kind of like this. Raise your hand if you like the idea of like leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Like, do you like the idea of just lighting on fire tens of thousands of dollars? Hopefully, you didn't raise your hand. I know it's kind of a silly question, but like it's true. A lot of people do it, right? A lot of people just light tens of thousands of dollars on fire, and when buying a home, and it's stupid. It's idiotic. Sorry, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but we're not going to do that with you guys. So, and the reason is they're not taking advantage of a lot of the first time home buyer programs out there. Now, there's a lot of first time home buyer programs out there on the market, and they cover so many different things. It's kind of confusing. So I do get that. We're going to be talking about some of my favorite ones in this class today and how you can take advantage of them. But what are first time home buyer programs? Well, there's a lot of them. Some are specific to your location, right now, there's a first time home buyer program just for people in Bellingham. There's also first time home buyer programs that are for people in like Ferndale, Linden, like the more rural area, but not in the bigger city like Bellingham. Like, they don't apply to that. They apply to like the more rural areas. That's a hard word. Say that 10 times fast. Rural. They're dependent on your income. So one of my favorite ones we're going to talk about today, you can't make a certain amount. So for example, the one that we will be talking about in the next slide, the down payment assistance program, the state's basically going to give you like, it's a stupid amount of money. It's so much. They basically cover almost everything, but you can't make more than like $220,000 collectively. That's going to be most of you, right? Like, if most of you are probably not making more than $220,000 a year, right? So that would be a program most of you could take advantage of. They may require you to hang out in your home for a few years. They're like, hey, you just need to live here for like a couple of years. That's all. They may have like different interest rates that are more favorable, and some are like 100% financing, like the VHA loans, and some of the other ones we'll talk about here, and like USDA loans, things like that. But we'll talk about all of those here in just a moment. Now, real quick, I think it's important for you guys to understand what buying a home is like with one of these first-time homebuyer programs versus without. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through an example. So Maggie wants to buy a $500,000 house in Bellingham. Could be Linden, Ferndale, doesn't matter. Just somewhere around here, right? And she's going to buy a $500,000 home. And again, this applies to people like buying $300,000 homes and buying $700,000 homes or $1 million homes. It doesn't matter. She's going to go with a conventional loan with 3% down, which is about $15,000, right? Making sense? Her closing costs are going to be roughly 2% of the purchase price. We'll just say on average, it's about 10 grand. We're just going to throw an even number in there. When it comes to closing costs, we will talk about that in another section. We'll break it down because it's basically just a big bucket of a bunch of fees that you got to pay when you buy a house. We'll talk about what those are, but they're usually around 2%. And don't worry, I know a really cool trick on how to get the sellers to pay for them. So they're basically free to you, but we'll talk about that here in a moment. So total cost for Maggie to buy a $500,000 house is going to be about $25,000 without using a first-time homebuyer program. Okay, does that make sense? So buying a first home without a first-time homebuyer program, Maggie's paying 25 grand out of pocket. Okay, that's a lot of money just to be sitting and leaving on the table, right? Um, but if Maggie was to use one of Washington State, take advantage of the Washington State Home Advantage Down Payment Assistance Program, which is basically just a second interest-free loan tacked onto the back of your mortgage, which covers about 4 to 5% of the down payment and closing costs, so roughly $20 to $25,000. We would basically mean Maggie's basically buying her house for $0. Now she might need to spend like $700 to like $1,500 to like cover a couple of small things like your home inspection and maybe like an appraisal or something like that. But on average, like she's basically paying $0 because Washington State down payment assistant program would basically cover her entire down payment, right? Like this is huge. Like right here, right now, she's saving $50,000. Like that's insane, right? Like, are you seeing this? This is huge. So Maggie's saving $25,000. Real quick, legal disclaimer, by the way, like I'm obviously a realtor, but like I'm not your realtor at this moment, and these are just um um examples here. Like I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a mortgage lender, so like these all depend on different scenarios, right? But like just so you know, like these are relevant for most people. So this will likely apply to you, but I can't guarantee that it will because everyone is in a different situation. So you need to talk to me. Like we need to schedule like a one-on-one consultation to like talk about it. But yeah, you get the idea. Now you're probably wondering like, okay, cool. So I could buy a house with basically like $0 down. Um, Mike said, "Wow, yeah, that's true, right? Like basically $0 down." But there's two reasons why you've probably never heard of this. One is big banks hate these programs. Okay, it's true. Like whether it's like some of your credit unions, like we have like our WeQ or ICU, things like that. And then we have like our big box banks, like your Chase or your Bank of America or your Rocket Mortgage. Like they hate these programs. They do. One reason being is they do a lot of things. They do a lot of different like loan programs and things like that. And this is not where they make most of their money. So they don't really specialize in this. Whereas like a local lender who just does mortgages and nothing else, they're going to have access to all these programs. And yes, I know a guy that I can hook you up with, but big banks, they hate these programs. They don't make as much money on them. They're a lot more work. So they're not going to be recommending them. They don't want to deal with it. So that's why you probably never hear it. So you can't really get these from your local bank. You got to go with someone who specializes with these types of loans. And the second ugly fact is sellers, agents won't accept a big bank pre-approval letter. Okay, so for example, not only are banks not going to be able to help you take advantage of these programs, and there's obviously exceptions right there, but like the vast majority of them are not going to. Sellers are not going to want to work with a big bank because, again, they're overcomplicating things. They're making things really difficult, and they usually extend closing and things like that. In fact, I've never met a single listing agent um, that has had a good experience with a big box bank. In fact, the last time I did one with Chase Bank, it took us 5 months to close on a house, and every single realtor I know has a story just like that. We just don't even touch them. Like we want a good, high quality local lender. So those are two big facts. It's usually going to kill the deal if you go with a big bank, and then two, a big bank they're going to hide these down payment assistant programs from you. So it's really important that you go with a local lender. Now, mistake number two that first time home buyers make is they get intimidated by the numbers. So you're buying your first home. There's a lot of like numbers and fees and things out there. Like you're like, what is this all going on? Like we're going to cover all that right now. So you know exactly what is going on. Now, the biggest one that we just talked about a second ago is closing costs, right? Remember, like you've probably heard this term before, kind of like escrow or earnest money or things like that. You're like, what the heck are closing costs? Again, it's kind of like a big bucket of fees that you pay in addition to your down payment. So you have your down payment, right? Obviously, everyone's has heard of like 20% down payments, 10% down payments, 3% down payments, or like I just showed you in the example, a 0% down payment. Well, there's technically a down payment, but we got a home uh, down payment system program to cover it for us in our example. But there's still something called closing costs. Now, again, closing costs are basically just a big bucket of fees. So the first and most common in this bucket is going to be your escrow and title fees. Now, escrow basically They are going to collect all the documents. They're going to basically facilitate and manage the entire transaction. They're going to go record everything at the county. They're going to review title with you or offer title insurance, which is something you're really going to want because in case, I mean, it's basically what title insurance is, and it doesn't cost a lot. It's usually a fee that you split between the seller and you. It's basically an insurance plan. So like if the house that you're buying is on great grandpa's land and a son who's like a 1/50th inheritor, not son, but great grandson says like, hey, my grandpa owned this, like you got to give it to me or something like that, which is super rare. Basically, that is an insurance policy to cover you, so you're good, right? Okay, so that's kind of what's going on there. These are not a ton of fees, but they are there. It's it's a couple, maybe a couple thousand bucks total, probably less than that actually. Um, Lender fees, again, this is going to be roughly like 1% of the down payment. So like a lender makes their money in two ways. Basically, they make it from the interest rate, so they're charging you an interest rate, right? Like so, like the 6%, 5%, 7%, whatever it is, and then they are also charging you um, closing cost fees. So it's a big chunk of fees that you pay up front. It's usually around 1% of the purchase price, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, something like that, that they're tacking on at the beginning of the loan. And the way it works is usually banks will say, like, hey, we have really low interest rates, but we have really high lending fees, right? And then you have banks who are like, we have really low lending fees, but maybe a slightly higher interest rate, right? So it's kind of this balance game of what are you going to do? Like, what's the trade off here? We're going to have higher lending fees versus um, a lower interest rate, so it's kind of a balancing game. Again, you would talk about this with your lender to figure out which option is best for you. But that's one of the things that's included inside of closing costs. Again, it's around 1%, maybe it can be like 1.5. But you also have things like rate buy downs. You can buy down interest rate. So if you have an interest rate that's like 6%, because they're a little bit higher right now, like 6.25, 6.5 as of today, as of recording this video, you can actually buy a lower interest rate, right? So you have these things called rate buy downs. Now, again, we can usually get the seller to pay for these, but we'll talk about that later. Then you also have like HOA fees. These are like really annoying, like knocking on the nose fees. Like they're basically just, hey, thanks for joining our HOA. It's going to cost you $200. Like, okay, just insult to injury, right? And so forth. Some other closing common fees that you will see inside of the closing cost bucket would be like one-time funding fees. These are usually for VA loans only. So if you're a vet getting a VA loan, which obviously you have like the 0% down financing, which is great, take advantage of that. But they also have something called a one-time funding fee. It's usually like, I think it's usually around like 1.25% of the purchase price. If you're buying a $500,000 house, that's what is that? That's $6,250, I think, somewhere around that. That's going to be like your one-time funding fee, so that would be thrown in there as well. Some lenders will tack that onto your loan amount, so you just have a slightly higher loan amount, but sometimes they require it up front. And then, of course, your FHA loans. I know a lot of people love these; they're great if you have bad credit. Um, Not so much if you have good credit. But another thing with them is they have upfront mortgage insurance fees. They have private mortgage insurance that you have to pay on the monthly payment, which kind of stinks. But they also have an upfront mortgage premium that you have to pay, and so forth. And the last one, these are your mandatories. These are like your prepaid property taxes. Everyone has to pay property taxes. It's just a rule of life. You pay for them through your mortgage payments. So as you're making your monthly mortgage payments, that's how you're also paying your property taxes at the same time. That's just a service that the lenders provide for you, which is just makes it easier. That way you're not writing a check to the lender and to the tax assessor at the county. It just makes it easier. Same thing with home insurance. Again, sometimes there's some prepaids that you got to pay with these, like some upfront costs to cover like the difference, because you're paying these in installments. I know it sounds kind of funky. It's just how it works and when they're due. So basically, these are like annual things you got to pay annually, but they're rolled into the monthly payments of the loan. So depending on what time of year you're buying, you might have to pay a portion of that upfront. So that's basically what that means. And roughly, this all comes out to about 2% of the purchase price. So again, if you're buying a $500,000 property, that's about $10,000. Roughly, could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. And obviously, bad news bears, in case you haven't noticed, closing costs are expensive. They're expensive, right? Like, yikes, that's really expensive. Like 10 grand, like just not down payment, not going towards your equity. It's just a $10,000 fee or more or less, depending on the price point of the property. That's a lot of money. But don't worry, there is some good news with this. we can usually get the seller to pay these for us. So obviously we have our first time home buyer programs. Sometimes these cover them, but we can also sometimes, and actually right now, especially in this market that we're in right now, we can actually get these sellers to pay these fees for us. For example, I just helped a young couple right now recently. They're buying a home. It was actually a better option for them not to take advantage of a down payment assistance program, because we were able to get them such a better rate without it. But they still had to pay, so they paid 3% down, but they still had to pay the closing costs. We were able to negotiate a discount on the price of the home, and we got the sellers to pay all of their closing fees. So they basically didn't have to pay all that extra fees up front at all. Now, a really cool thing about that is because the market right now is really like even killed for like it's more of a buyer's market right now. So it's really easy to get sellers to pay this fee right now. But once interest rates come down, you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to it's going to be a lot harder to negotiate. So like when COVID was like rampant and like people were making like 10 offers on a home, it was really hard to get people to like or get sellers to like pay our closing costs. Obviously, with things cooling down and things been pretty flat and level the last 3 years, it's been a lot easier to get them to pay those closing costs. I did get your question, by the way. Stack your questions and I'll answer them all towards the end, just so you know. So please keep adding questions. We're live in a couple places. We're on YouTube and Facebook and our private stream. So make sure you keep asking those questions. Some other numbers that you need to be aware of is it's all about the monthly payment. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, believe it or not, you can have one house that costs less, have a higher monthly payment than a newer, nicer home that maybe costs more over here on the other side of the street. Why is that? Well, unfortunately, in Washington State, we have these things called property taxes, which obviously stink. And it's kind of unknown how they're determined. I mean, we know how they're determined, but like sometimes they just don't make sense. You'll see one house that has property taxes for $300,000, and you'll see another one that's not $300,000. Sorry, you'll have property taxes for $3,000 a year, and then you'll see another one that's $5,000 a year or $6,000 a year or more, and it just doesn't really make any sense. Same thing with insurance. You can have insurance premiums because a house is like deep in the woods or maybe down a long driveway. It's going to have a higher insurance premium versus one in a neighborhood, especially one like right next to a fire hydrant. My primary residence that I'm in right now, I have a fire hydrant in my lawn, and my property is literally it's 3 times cheaper than other properties I've seen that are out in the woods. Like my homeowner's insurance, sorry, my homeowner's insurance is 3 times cheaper than it is in other places. Meaning, but between homeowners insurance and property taxes, you can get a nicer house. I'm just going to say this one's nicer for the sake of this video. A nicer house than this one than for like with a less monthly payment. It might cost more. The house might cost a little bit more, but your monthly payment would actually be less. Next thing we need to talk about numbers wise is credit reporting. This is a big one. Like who here feels like this guy right here? Uh, you kind of like cringe. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want to talk about credit right now. Like I don't really want to talk about it. This is just an important detail I do want to talk to you guys about when it comes to credit. It's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Like I know some of you maybe you have like a hospital bill from like 10 years ago, like that you need to pay. Like it's going to be fine. Okay. Like you're going to be okay. The thing is about credit, like what I need you to do if you're going to be buying a home is first off, and you're not sure about your credit, like, like I might have something on there from like a few years ago. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like we're going to help you take care of it. First thing you need to know is do not let anyone let you do a hard pull on your credit yet. If your score is marginal and like you need those couple of points, like you do not want to do a hard pull. They could do a soft pull. So for example, like my lender, he would do like a soft pull, which does not affect your credit. They'll eventually need to do like a hard pull when we do like the final calculations, like right before we close. But they can do a soft pull now to see where you're at. And what they can do is they can take that and help you build out a battle plan. So for example, our second takeaway that I want to go over you with is like, I don't want you to be a hero. Like I know another thing people do is like, they'll like, okay, I'm going to like buy a house. Like I should start paying off maybe that collection notice from like 10 years ago. Well, you might not want to do that. And the reason being is, it's dormant. Now, I'm not like a financial expert person or anything like that. I'm just telling you what my lender does to like help people get qualified. So like, please take that with a grain of salt. But oftentimes what we've seen is like, hey, it's kind of like a little fire. Like you have like like some burning embers, like in a fire, and like it's totally fine. But like maybe you have like this old debt, and like, okay, well, I'm gonna go pay it off now. Like, and you start paying it off. It's kind of like pouring gasoline on it, and now it blows up and turns into the big thing. And now the credit reporter's like, wait a second, what's this old debt? Okay, it's active again. It can actually hurt your credit and cause it to come down. I know it doesn't make any sense at all. Credit's this weird, magical, mystical theory out there that just makes zero sense sometimes. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to like screw it up and start trying to fix your credit the wrong way. Okay. So you really need to talk to a professional. Again, these are like our lenders can do this for free. They basically punch in your score, they figure out where you're at, and they just tell you what you need to do in order to qualify to get your dream home without having to hurt it anymore. Okay, so really, really important. Mistake number 3. Actually, let me do some quick Q and A's here. I got a question for you. I'm opening a wholesaling business while being in college. Plus, I'm building a AI agent to help me with that. What are your thoughts? Don't do wholesaling. Don't do that wholesaling. I'm so deep in the rabbit hole. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it. It is a bad idea. Do not do it. You can. I'm surprised it's not illegal yet. It should be illegal. You're basically taking advantage of people, is what you're doing. And I know you might want to argue with me on that. I am so far deep in this in the hole of wholesaling and understanding that. Like you just don't want to do it. Trust me. Building an AI agent, build AI agents and sell them to other people is what I would recommend doing. As someone who is deep in that rabbit hole too, that's what I would do. You'd probably make more money. Anyways, mistake number 3, they don't know how much a home truly costs to buy and what steps to take. Okay, this is a big mistake. Like who's a little confused on like what you need to do when it comes to buying a home? Anyone? I know some of you are raising your hand and shaking your head yes. Well, don't worry. We're going to cover the 5 steps to buying a home, and all the costs involved. Now, obviously, we talked about down payment and closing costs, but there's some extra hidden fees that you definitely need to be aware of. Okay. Now, the first thing is you need to meet with my team. You need to meet with me. Okay. I know this seems kind of silly. It's this is not a hardcore sales pitch on you guys, but like you need to meet with a realtor who is going to help you find the perfect house, help you get pre-approved with a local lender. Obviously, take advantage of these first-time buyer home programs. Mr. Wholesaler, I cannot pronounce your name on YouTube, so please forgive me. Um, like there's some great programs that you can take advantage of and house hack to get a property for like basically $0. Okay, it's not wholesaling; it's buying real estate the right way. By the way. Um, but we'll get you connected with a local lender and we'll work with you as long as it takes. And we'll obviously negotiate you the best deal and hold your hand every step of the way. All you got to do is go to soldbytommy.com/book. Now, I know it seems like not a big deal, but like, trust me, there's a lot going on right now when it comes to buying a house. And you really do need that help and that support system to obviously help you take advantage of all those home programs, negotiate the best deal, and then make sure you don't get taken advantage of by a lot of the sneaky sellers out there. Now you're like, okay, cool, but like, how much does that cost? Right. So that's step number 1 is get pre-approved, talk to a realtor, blah, blah, blah. But like, how much is that going to cost? Well, good for you. News for you. It is $0. It costs exactly $0 to work with me to help you find your dream home. I only get paid when a house sells, and it's usually almost always by the seller. So the seller usually pays my fee. So to you, it's basically 100% free, and yet I still have your best interests at heart and have to take care of you. Basically, it's kind of like having a fiduciary responsibility to make sure you get the best deal possible. And it costs you $0. So pretty great. So if you want, you can go to soldbytommy.com/book. Please feel free to book a quick call with me, and my team and I can go over your unique situation so we can help you figure out what you need to do moving forward. But step number 2 is we're under contract. So you booked a call with my team. We got you pre-approved. We found you your dream home. Obviously, we'll go out and look at homes and all those fun things, which is a ton of fun, by the way. And then we'll negotiate and make an offer on a house for you. And then obviously, once we're under contract, we make a deal that everyone's happy. Maybe we get the sellers to pay some of your closing costs or all of them, because why not? Maybe get some money off the price of the house. and maybe a few other terms that are beneficial and favorable to you. The next step is we are now under contract and we need to open up escrow and deliver earnest money. And when I say we, I mean I, because that's my job is to go open up escrow for you. And now that we're pending on your dream home, you're going to have to do something called deliver earnest money. Now, what is earnest money? And this is the first time, by the way, that you're ever writing a check for anything. Earnest money is kind of like a security deposit on a house. Okay, so it says, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I promise to buy your house for these terms." So we wrote a contract out. We say, "Hey, we're offering this much money. This is our financing. We want to do a home inspection, things like that." Um, and basically, this contract just says, "This is what we're going to be doing, and we're going to pay you a security deposit." It's not going to go to the seller. It's going to go to the escrow company, who's going to hold it for them in an escrowed account, and says, "We're going to, if we don't follow through with buying this home, um, you get to keep that money." Now, there's a lot of ways to get. You almost always get that money back. By the way, like if you fail the inspection, you get it back. If you don't qualify for a loan for some reason, you get that money back. It's really hard to lose it. And also, when you buy the house, that money just gets credited towards your down payment. Okay, so you always get that earnest money back. It's usually about 1% of the purchase price. So on a $500,000 house, that would be about 5 grand, obviously. However, sometimes you can negotiate a lower amount. So we'll do like, hey, we'll do $1,000 or do, um, yeah, just $1,000. I do that all the time. I'll just write in $1,000 just to make things easier, right? But this is the first time you're writing a check, and again, you will almost certainly get that money back. Okay, so that's the first time you're writing a check, as we need to deliver that money to escrow. Now, um, then there's just a slide repeating everything I just said, so please forgive me. Step number 3 is going to be doing a home inspection. Now, it's a really bad idea to buy a house and not inspect a home. Now, even like a brand new home, I've seen more issues with brand new homes than any other homes out there. Now, I don't get any kickbacks from big home inspectors, right? Like, I don't get any money for this. This is just something I recommend, right? Like, you should do a home inspection. You should do your due diligence. You should know what's wrong with this house before you drop $500,000 on it, right? Like, before you make this massive purchase, just spend a little bit of money and do a home inspection. Now, most home inspections are going to be about a 10-day window, although it could be negotiated, so it could be shorter. And they generally cost about $500 to $600. Okay, this is going to the money is going to go towards a home inspector. So I have like a list of people you can hire, and obviously you could go find your own, right, if you want to. But if you're to work with my team and I would just say, hey, these are the people that I think do the best job and are the most thorough. I'm going to really make sure they dig deep to find everything possibly wrong with that house. And it's going to be a cost that comes out of your pocket. If you fail the contract and don't move forward with buying it, you don't get that money back, obviously. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be the best $500 you ever spend. Okay. I worked with a guy and he really wanted this home, but it definitely needed some love. And he's, spent $500 on this home inspection, and basically came back was like, you would be better off lighting the $800,000 on fire than you would be buying this home. Okay. Like, it was that bad of a home inspection. Right. And that's honestly the best $500 he ever spent, because he saved so much money. Okay, so it's really, really important that you get a home inspection. You don't have to, but I highly recommend it. And then once you do your home inspection, you basically have 3 options. Now, at any point during a home inspection contingency, you can just cancel the contract and walk away. Okay, you can cancel, you can walk away, you can be done. You can also ask for repairs. So it's like, hey, the roof is leaking, let's fix that. Hey, the water heater, the water tank is bad. Can you fix that? Things like that, right? So we can ask for these repairs that are pretty easable, like that are pretty reasonable to ask for. So obviously, like, hey, there's a leaky sink, right? Now, if there's something like really obvious with the house, like, hey, and they disclose that right away, like, hey, this thing is broken in the house, and we can't afford to fix it, so the house has been priced accordingly. Like, obviously, things like that are like, obviously, like, the house needs new carpet. Obviously, the house needs a new coat of paint. Like, those aren't necessarily things you ask for on a home inspection, because those are like, obviously we need these things up front. This is for more like the hidden stuff, like a leaking roof, leaking pipes, leaking seat, bad electrical, things like that, right? Things that affect the health and safety of the home. But what I like to do more than anything, I think this is way better than asking for repairs, is I like to ask for credits or a buy down. Basically, we can say, hey, cover more of our closing costs, or maybe we didn't get any closing costs covered when we first negotiated, and now we want to get either more or some of those closing costs covered now, or we can buy down our rate. Maybe we've already maxed out like our closing costs. Like, hey, we've already got our closing costs covered. Well, we could buy down our interest rate so we have a lower monthly payment. And oftentimes, what I see, and this isn't true all the time, but I would say the majority of the time, mostly what I see wrong with like when people need to do like a home inspection, like something's wrong and they need to get it fixed. Usually, what I'll see is like, hey, this is like a $20 Home Depot fix you can do. Now we can ask a contractor to come fix it for us, and they're going to charge $500. Um, but instead of asking the contractor to pay $500 to come fix this for us, I would say, hey, why don't we just ask the sellers to give us the $500 instead? We'll fix it ourselves. We'll spend $20 on it. Maybe we'll have dad do it. Maybe we'll do it. We'll watch a YouTube video. Maybe a friend can do it. And we'll just pocket the, the $480 to spend $20 at Home Depot, fix it ourselves. And now you have more money in your pocket to obviously buy down the rate or do whatever you want with, right? Like it's a great way to get more money out of buying a home. It's definitely a method that I've used multiple times. Step number 4. Okay, so you hired a realtor, you got pre-approved, we look at homes, we made an offer on a house, we opened up escrow, you paid your earnest money, you did your home inspection. Step number 4 is going to be doing a home appraisal. Basically, you'll get a request from your lender to pay for an appraisal. Usually costs between $800 and $1,000. This is basically just the bank's eyes and ears to make sure you're buying a home that is a good investment for the bank, because the bank's lending you money, right? They want to know, like, hey, is this home legit? Is it actually worth the price you're paying for, right? And so they hire a third-party company, which is an appraiser, to do that for them. Now, again, that's a fee you're going to have to pay out of pocket. It kind of stinks, but you got to pay it. Sometimes they'll tack it onto the loan, but do be aware of that. So if you really think about it, you got $1,000 for everyone that's keeping a track. Let's say $1,000 for earnest money, $500 for the home inspection. So now we're up to $1,500, and let's just say for easy math, $1,000 for the appraisal. So now you're up to $2,500 for buying your house. Okay, makes sense. Quick note, super important. During this time, once we made our offers and everything, now is not the time to go buy a bunch of furniture and new cars and open a bunch of new credit cards. This is one of the worst things you could do. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make that kills real estate deals. In fact, I did it. I was helping a client a few years ago. Gosh, still gives me flashbacks. We were so close. We were about to buy a house. We were like a few days from closing. We did the home inspection, the appraisal, everything. They went out and they bought a brand new truck with a $1,500 monthly payment. Jeez, like it was the dumbest thing he could have done. He lost the house. He did get his earnest money back because he didn't qualify for a loan. But he was out the inspection money, and him and his wife and his kids had nowhere to live now. They had to go find an apartment to rent because now they can't afford this house because he bought a new truck. He bought a new truck, right? So now it's not the time to go out and get new credit cards, buy a new car, buy furniture. Even those furniture companies that says like, hey, no interest payments for like a year, like don't trust them. Like, do not buy anything. You could do it the day after you close, after you get the keys to your house. Go buy all the cars and furniture you want. But right now, unless you're buying groceries or a pair of pants, actually, don't even buy the pants. You don't need the pants. Don't spend any money during this time. Okay, just be aware. Really, 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 really important. Step number 5. The house is yours. Congratulations. You're basically now going to go to the title company. You're going to bring a check with you for the remaining closing costs or down payment, unless, of course, we took advantage of the down payment assistance program. You might have to bring almost $0. But basically, you're going to bring a check to closing. You're going to sign a stack of paper this thick, and you're going to be there for about an hour signing away everything. And the sellers are going to do the same thing. They're going to be bringing the keys, right? And I'm going to be collecting them, holding on to them for you until we actually close. So you'll usually sign paperwork a day or so before closing. And then if the title company will say, hey, you need to bring, an extra $1,000 or $25,000, or maybe you're doing like a big down payment because you just sold a house and you're putting $100,000 down. You'd basically need to bring a check to cover the rest of your costs. Again, you don't need to remember all this. Like, we will walk you through this every step of the way when you're working with my team and I. But you bring a check to cover your costs, and then congratulations, once you're done signing everything, you're basically just waiting for the county to then go, or the title company to go record everything at the county, and then you're a brand new homeowner. And actually, sometimes, fun fact, Sometimes you even get money back. So sometimes you don't even have to bring a check. When I got, I think it was my second house, um, I didn't have to bring a check. I actually got a check from the title company because I put too much money in the earnest money, and then I negotiated really well to get the sellers to basically cover everything. And I didn't even have to use a down payment program. It was awesome. I just did it without it. I just got the sellers to pay everything for me. Actually, I ended up getting a $1 check back. So instead of bringing money, I actually got a check back, which is really, really cool. So basically, you're a homeowner at this point, which is amazing. Congratulations. Really, really cool. But before we move on to mistake number four, because yeah, by this time you're a homeowner, but there's still one mistake people make that costs them a ton of money. Let me ask you a question. Who here feels like this guy? Like just a fire hose of information. I know sometimes I do. I'm the one talking, and sometimes I feel like this too, like just blasting you with a ton of information. Let me ask you another question. Do you feel less stressed, less concerned, less intimidated, less anxious, maybe less uncertain about buying a house right now? Do you feel like you have that clear path moving forward, knowing, hey, I know what to do when it comes to buying a house right now? Um, was this a good use of an hour on a Tuesday night? Yes, you like, let me know. Type yes in the chat. Uh, let me know. Do you ever feel confident in your ability to avoid the biggest mistakes home buyers make now? Let me know. Please let me know. Do you ever feel? Do you want to know exactly what you should do next? That's another big question. We've covered a lot, but you got one more big step that you got to do next. You guys want to know what that is? Well, your job, the thing you need to do next is I want you to tell me what it is you really want in a home. Everything, okay? Like all the features, all the amenities. Don't discount yourself thinking like I can't afford that neighborhood. I can't afford that house. I don't want to hear that. Tell me everything it is you want in a home. Okay? Like every single detail, like how many bedrooms, how many baths, how many properties, what neighborhood, what area, what school district do you want to be in? Let me know. Don't worry about it feeling impossible, like you can't do it. Let me worry about how we're going to make that happen for you. Okay. Does that sound fair? Does that sound fair? Because mistake number four that people make when buying their dream home is they do it alone. Okay. This is huge. They do it alone. You don't have to do this alone. In fact, you really shouldn't. You should come work with me, book a call with my team and I. Again, it's completely free. Okay. It's completely free. Just book a free consultation. It's a one on one consultation. We'll go over all your unique situation, all your numbers, everything it is you want in a home, and we'll just take 30 minutes to map out your entire home goals journey. So you don't get ripped off by all the sneaky sellers out there, and you don't get stuck in the wrong house. Okay. Again, we're going to help you find that perfect home. We're going to help you get pre-approved with a lender. Again, taking advantage of those first-time homebuyer programs, or maybe even not even a first-time homebuyer program, just making sure you get the best rate with the lowest fees. Um, and we're going to work with you as long as you take. Again, some people, a guy told me last week he didn't want to reach out because he seemed like I was too busy. Like, no, like don't worry about it. Like, reach out, say hi, book a free consultation. Like, I will work with you as long as it takes. Like, I've been working with the guy for 3 years now. Okay, like we're looking at houses. He hasn't paid me a penny. Okay, we're still looking at houses. We're still looking for the right one. We're still waiting for the right opportunity for him and his family. Like, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. Like, I'm going to work with you as long as it takes. Um, Negotiating the best deal. Like, look, I'm going to negotiate you the best deal. This is just one thing I pride myself on. I do a really good job on it. I spent a ton of time and money learning how to negotiate, and I'm just good at it. I'm really good at it. I'm going to get you the best deal possible, and I'm going to help you every step of the way. This is huge, guys. Like, look, I'm not just looking for um to sell another house, okay? I'm looking to help other people make the dream of home ownership a reality. Okay? Like, you deserve the American dream of owning a home. Like, you don't want to be paying some lender anymore. Like, or not a lender, a landlord. Sorry. Do you want to be paying a landlord and paying off his mortgage? Like, why are you paying off his mortgage? Why aren't you paying off your own mortgage? Right? Like, it's a literally just a forced savings account. Owning a home is the best way to build generational wealth. Okay. Unless you're some tech guru that invented Uber, like the next best thing is owning your own home. It really is. I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true, right? Like, think about it. When you're renting, you can't improve the property. You can't paint the walls. You can't build that fence. You can't add an addition. You can't make it yours. You're not even paying for it, you're paying the landlord who's paying it off. You're making him rich. You literally are, right? Like, don't do that. Like, book a free consultation. Like, literally, like it's free. Again, my fee, what I charge people, like that's covered by the seller. It's part of negotiating. Like my fee's gonna be covered, right? Like it's basically free to you. Doesn't cost you anything. At least the consultation, right? Like at least you got to believe me on that, right? Like, at the end of it, even if you don't want to work with me, I can at least steer you in the right direction. Like I can connect you to the right people. I can point you in the right direction, and I can show you what it is you need to do when it comes to finding your dream home without overpaying, without getting ripped off, so you can finally be financially free and stop paying some landlord. So again, go to soldbytommy.com/book. Please feel free to throw any questions in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. But seriously, yeah, go to soldbytommy.com/book and book a free one-on-one consultation with me. Again, we're just going to spend a few minutes mapping out your entire home goals journey, like what it is you want, what it is you're looking in a house, where you're at financially. Do you qualify for a loan right now? Do you not? We'll connect you with a local lender, and we'll build out this whole battle plan for you and your family to make the reality of owning a home a reality. I said that twice. Could have said that better. Okay, so seriously, go to soldbytommy.com/book. Um, and let me know what it is you guys and let's stay in touch. Like just so you know, real quick though, I only can work with so many people at a time. I actually have less than 6 spots available right now, and that's just because I only limit with how many people I work with at the moment. So if you do want to book a free consultation, please do. Like it's not a bother. And if you decide to work with me, great. If not, no worries at all. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction. But yeah, go ahead and book it out. Otherwise, I will see you guys when I see you, hopefully on a call. You better book a call with me. With that said, I'll see you guys around.